My first love and my wife's first love were kidnapped at the same time. My wife brought the money, but she rescued him instead. Then, with a look of disgust, she pushed me towards the kidnappers. You broke us up back then. You deserve to die. She even asked the kidnappers. Tokyo me. I was thrown into the sea, Andied without a whole body left. After my death, I watched helplessly as they lived in my villa, drove my luxury car, spent my inheritance, and even forced my parents to death, and killed my dog. I swear I will take revenge. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the age of 18. On the day Henry transferred to our school, I took the initiative to offer change seats with him. Vivian, Henry is your future husband. You two are a perfect match, just like a turtle finding a tortoise. The moment I saw my wife coming with the money, I was overjoyed. Vivian, I'm here. But her gaze didn't stay on me for even a moment. Instead, she called out another man's name with concern. Henry, are you okay? Don't be afraid. I'll pay the money right away and get you out of here. My heart instantly turned cold. My wife threw a large, black bag in front of the kidnappers. Everything you want is in here. The kidnapper sneered. This amount of money is only enough to save one, or are you willing to sacrifice your husband's life? I held my breath and looked at her with difficulty, my eyes pleading. Vivian, we've been married for 5 years. Please save me. Butch didn't show the slightest bit of emotion. Julian, if it weren't for you breaking us up and forcing me to swear to cut off relations with Henry before me father died, why would I have married? The 10 years we wasted between me and Henry, this is what you owe us. Since that's the case, you can pay with your life. I stared blankly at the wife I had loved for more than a decade, only feeling a sense of strangeness. Before I could open my mouth to ask her, I heard her throw a small bag onto the ground again. There's another $500,000 here. I want you to kill Julian. Do it. My wife actually used the money I had earned through hard work to ransom her first love, bribe the kidnappers, and take my life. I never expected that after more than a decade of loving and taking care of her meticulously, this would be the outcome. My wife hugged Henry and didn't look back. No matter how much I pleaded, she still drove away in my Maybach. Before leaving, Henry looked at me provocatively and said, Julian, just go and die in peace. I'll take good care of Yvonne for you. The kidnapper got the money and was all smiles. Brother, don't blame me if ya have to blame someone. Blame your bad luck for getting such a vicious woman. Tomek, you die without any regrets. This kidnapping was a play staged by our wife and me. The purpose was to take your life. Now I'm going to use Sethi's money to go abroad and never come back. After the kidnapper killed me, he also tied a steel plate weighing several hundred pounds to my body to ensure that my body wouldn't float to the surface off sea. I was dead forever, sinking into the silent and dark deep sea, without even leaving a whole body behind. I thought that when I died, everything will be completely over, but I saw Wuthop afterwards. My parents fainted several times from crying. At my funeral, finally, in extreme grief, my father had a stroke and my mother also fell seriously ill, and my wife Vivian brazenly took all of my inheritance and brought Henry into our home. In the house I bought, there were traces of their love everywhere. Even though he gritted my teeth and wanted to kill this despicable couple so much, I could only watch helplessly. Henry not only wore my clothes and drove my sports car, but Heaven joined my company and became the financial director. Those seniors who had fought alongside me were all fired by Vivon because they were dissatisfied with the personnel arrangements, and my pet dog, Coco, it seemed that it didn't like Henry either. Since he entered the door, it had been barking at him all the time. A fierce look flashed in Henry's eyes. My heart skipped a beat, and I instinctively wanted to protect Coco. Forget it. Why bother with a beast? Vivian said. Henry smiled and kicked Coco. From that day on, Coco was locked outside and never had a meal. Again, I looked at the golden retriever Coco, which I had raised to be sleek and shiny, now emaciated from hunger, and my heart ached as if it were being pricked by needles. Even though it was too weak from hunger, when Coco saw Henry, it still struggled to stand up and growl at him. But how could I understand Henry's viciousness? He held an iron rod in his hand, grinned like Advil, and walked towards my Coco Latu. Bark at me, you beast. Are you still waiting for your master Julian to come back? I'm telling you, he can't come back. He's already dead, and his body has been eaten by fish. Haha. Coco was beaten by him again and again, until it completely lost its breath. Blood gushed out from Coco's body, staining the soil in the garden dark red. It died so quickly. What a bore. Henry spat at Coco. When Vivian came back and saw Coco's body in the garden, she just frowned slightly. You could have just sold it. Aren't you afraid of getting your hands dirty? I couldn't believe it that Vivian, who used to love Coco so much, could have turned into this. Perhaps she had always been such a vicious and heartless woman. The tenderness and obedience in the past were just a disguise. During our 5-year safe marriage, we couldn't be said to have a deep and affectionate relationship, but at least our married life was harmonious. And we had never quarreled. But I never expected that all of this was a trap she set to gain my trust. After Henry came back from abroad, Her true nature was revealed, and she shouted her fangs. Later, I stayed by my parents' side, hoping that they would spare my family. But unexpectedly, Henry deliberately provoked my father when he was conscious and told him the truth about my death. Vivian also added fuel, tough fire, causing my father to die of a cerebral hemorrhage due to excessive emotional agitation. My mother, who didn't know the truth, lost me and my father in a short period of time and gradually became mentally confused. And Vivian, under the pretext of doing Mimother a favor, sent her to a mental hospital and secretly arranged for Somione to tamper with my mother's diet. In less than half a year, my mother went completely crazy. Later in an accident, my mother fell off a building and died. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the age of 18 on the day Henry transferred to our class. I could immediately see the light in my Desmativian's eyes. This time, I won't stop them anymore, so I raised my hand and reported to the teacher. Teacher, I want to change seats with Henry. In Vivian's surprised gaze, I said calmly, Vivian always sleeps in class and disturbs Mistity. Vivian and I were childhood's. Our parents were also very good friends, so our marriage was more or less decided since we were children. I grew up with her, and of course I had always treated her like a girlfriend and cared for her. When others bullied her, I would stand in front of her, I would bring her meals every day, prepare study notes for her, and explain problems. Toa. I didn't want to spend my lucky money and would buy her beautiful little dresses as soon as possible. I gave her everything I had, but I never expected that my relationship with her would change completely after we met Henry, the transfer student. Henry was a small-time hoodlum because his father was in prison. His mother brought him to Another City to start a new life. In fact, I didn't like him the first time I saw him. He had a slovenly appearance, chewing gum, wearing exaggerated black, and dressed in inappropriate leather jacket, and it was his unruly appearance that attracted the well-behaved Vivian. The trajectories of me life and hers also diverged at that moment, going in opposite directions. In me previous life, because I liked Tarrant, her parents pleaded with me, tried my best to keep her by my side. I even told her father the news that she was going to Alope with Henry before the college entrance examination. Vivian's father was so angry that he was hospitalized before the rescue. He took me hand and asked me to take good care of Vivian. He entrusted his daughter, Tome. He also forced Vivian to break up with Henry, using his own life as a threat. She promised to marry me honestly after graduating from university. We were admitted to the same university smoothly. From university until graduation, she never mentioned Henry again. After getting married, Shevin played the role of a good wife. I thought she understood my good intentions at that time. I also worked desperately to make money to give her a better life, but I never expected that she'd always held a grudge and would make me and my family pay such a painful price later. Now I finally understand that everyone has their own destiny. Since she wasn't meant to be mine, I should let her go earlier. After class, I didn't wait for Vivian. I just picked up my school bag and prepared to go home that night. At the dinner table, my mom asked me why I didn't come back with Vivian. I had a solemn expression on my face. She already has someone she likes, so I don't want to bother her anymore. To avoid others' misunderstandings and to spare myself the embarrassment, my parents gave me a puzzled look, but didn't say anything more. In fact, if it hadn't been for my stubborn insistence in marrying Vivian back then, our engagement would have fallen through long ago. Back then, our two families were considered well matched. But later, my father made a fortune in business and our family became quite wealthy, while Vivian's family remained poor. My parents had actually intended to call off the engagement. However, out of consideration for our feelings and social face, they didn't give up on it now. It seems that my parents' decision was really the right one. I still remember the words Vivian said before my father died. "You old fool, don't think I didn't know that you've always looked down on our family. Do you really think I was willing to marry your son? Let me tell you, it was all because under the double stimulation from Har and Henry, my father died of a cerebral hemorrhage. In that case, let's just call it quits between our two families. What my father said was exactly what I wanted, since she's willing to be with that hooligan. Leather sink into depravity." The next day, as soon as I stepped out of the door, I saw Vivian's impatient face. "Why didn't ya wait for me and go home directly today? Don't you know I'd be scaretto, go home alone?" Her words made me stunned for a moment. It was really ridiculous. On one hand, she was showing great eagerness towards the transfer student, Henry, and couldn't wait to distance herself from me at school. On the other hand, she was reluctant to give up the kindness I showed her. It was really disgusting. Whether you're a scored or not when you go home has nothing to do with me. I turned around and left, not caring at all what Chef taught now. I can even hold back from rushing up and stabbing her and Henry. This is already the limit of my... Sure enough, as I expected, as soon as we got to the classroom, Vivian started putting on lipstick and applying blush on the desk in an affected manner. She even deliberately asked Henry Bessettier, "Do I look good?" She was like apocock in heat, spreading its feathers. Henry squinted his eyes and curved his lips. You look good, only for me, Tassie. After he finished speaking, Vivian's face visibly turned red. Henry leaned over and quickly kissed her on the cheek. Suddenly, there was a burst-off heckling laughter in the class. It was really disgusting. After class, my good brother Lucas pulled me and asked, "What's going on between you and Vivian? Weren't you a couple? Why is she now flirting with Henry? And they even kissed. Isn't this clearly cuckold in you?" I sneered. I have nothing to do with her. It's her business who she wants to flirt with. Don't tell me anything about her in the future. I am going to focus on my studies. Lucas patted me on the shoulder. It was as if I'd discovered a new world. Bro, you've suddenly changed your ways. I had told you she wasn't a good person. Before, someone saw her act with several senior students. I told you, but you were like you were but shed and just wouldn't listen. Now you've finally seen the light. I nodded. In fact, before we met Henry, Vivian was textically honest. It's just that I didn't see it with my own eyes. So, I naturally refused to believe that the person I liked could be such a despicable person. I was wholeheartedly devoted to her and held her in the palm of my hand. But she treated me like a fool. Now that I think about it, it's not impossible that she was stringing me along while flirting with the captain of the basketball team. I just don't know if she's still using the same old tricks as before, after school. Because I didn't understand some questions, I lost track of time. When I looked up and was about to leave, there were only me and her left in the classroom. I felt a wave of nausea, packed my things, and turned to leave. But then I heard Vivian's voice. I knew it. You did it on purpose, right? What? I looked up and asked her. She had a smug look on her face. You were pretending to study on purpose, actually waiting for me, right? You were real idealist when I was with Henry during that day, but you couldn't bring yourself to show it. I asked her in return, "Are you going to break up with Henry? Are you going to be with me?" Honestly, seeing this, she frowned and looked at me disdainfully. "Julian, you and I have just grown up together since we were kids. I don't like you at all, so don't think you can control me. However, since you waited for me, I'll reluctantly walk with you." It was like she was bestowing a favor. I nodded. Okay, I understand. She showed a confident smile. That's more like it. Then I'll still allow you to follow me like before. By the way, I want to eat crab roe buns tomorrow. You didn't bring breakfast today, and I almost starved to death by another portion. Henry likes them too. I suppressed the nausea in my heart. I was blind before. How could he not have noticed that she was such a shameless person? I couldn't help but roll my eyes. No need. You'd better leave this kind of good thing to Henry, since you said we have nothing to do with each other. I don't have to spend money on you. Either then please return all the things I bought for you and the money I spent on you over the years. If you don't have the money, I'll go ask your parents for it. What? She wasned, too surprised to say anything, as if trying to figure out what I meant. Are you deaf? I said that since you're Annette, my girlfriend, you have to pay for the breakfast I brought you, and the money I spent on the things I bought for you over the years must be several thousand yuan. Please pay me back now. If you don't have it, I'll go to your parents. After a moment, Vivian came to her senses. Are you asking me for money? I asked back. Otherwise, do you think you went to support someone else's girlfriend? Vivian pointed at me and started swearing. Are you even a man? It's just a little money I spent off yours. You're so stingy. No wonder no one likes you. I'm willing to spend yours as a favor to you. Don't be ungrateful. I squinted my eyes, looking mince. You're talking so much nonsense. Don't tell me you don't want to pay it back. You've got a new boyfriend, Henry, right? Let him pay for it. Vivan Henry is your future husband. You can spend his money with a hesitation. You two are really a perfect match. Just like a turtle finding at her twice. Haha, she stammered for a long time. And finally, under my mocking laughter, she left in a huff, furious. He looked at her, departing back, and spattered disgusting. Vivan avoided me for several days in a row. I was glad to have some peace. After school, not long after I started walking, I noticed Edzami following me. I deliberately lies down my pace. I turned in and out of alleys and walked into a small lane. Soon, the person behind me stopped at pretending and showed their face. Henry, with a group of hooligans, cornered me in the alley. You're Julian, right? Asking a woman for money. Are you even a decent person? I smiled. Vivian sent you her, right? Since she's dating you know and she spent my money. Don't you think you should pay it back for her? Or as I thought, you can't even afford that little money. I chuckled, my tone sarcastic. Henry was so angry that he rushed up to hit me. I grabbed his fist and pushed it back. He stumbled and almost fell to the floor. So, you're a weakling. I thought you were really something. My words completely enraged him. He picked up a knife and rushed at me to stab me. Justin, the sound of police sirens came from outside. I immediately let out a terrified scream. Help, someone's trying to kill me. Henry is going to stab me, Tadith. This unexpected turn of events scared him. For a moment, he didn't know whether to retreat or run. He just stood there stupidly with the knife in his hand. The police arrived in time and took me, Henry, and the others away. When my parents came to the police station to pick me up, they looked worried. Son, are you okay? I shook my head, my voice trembling. Dad, Mom, I'm so scared. He wanted to kill me. After Henry's mother arrived, she kept bowing and apologizing to my parents. I'm sorry. Our son has caused you trouble. But considering he's sorry, your son is 18 years old. He's not young anymore. Someone who can take out a knife to threaten a Smet. I think he needs to pay ascertain price. Otherwise, what if Hirali kills someone in the future? Henry's mother rushed over and slapped Henry. Quick, apologize to them. Henry gave me a vicious glare, but refused to speak. I said softly, Mom and Dad, Thismator can't be entirely blamed on him. He came to beat me because of Vivon. What? My parents didn't expect that this matter would be related to Vivon, whom they had watched grow up. After hearing my account, my parents' face looked very grim. They immediately liked Vivon's parents. When they rushed over, Vivon saw me at a glance. Her eyes dodged, I sneered in my heart. I looked even more aggrieved on my face. I said to Vivon's parents, Uncle and Aunt, Ichno Vivian doesn't like me. She likes Henry, and I accept that, but Sheshelden have asked Henry to beat me and even tried to kill me. Let's call off our engagement. I'll let Vivian go, and I hope she spare my life, too. Vivian's father was a man who cared about face. His face turned livid, and slapped Vivon. Seeing this, my parents' expressions were still not good. They didn't say a word. Vivian, me with a venomous gaze. Mom and Dad, it was clearly him asking me for money. All that money was given to me by him willingly. Why should I pay it back to him? He was willing Tobe, my lapdog. Is that my fault? My parents could no longer hold back their anger. They never expected that their son's efforts were regarded as the behavior of a lapdog in her eyes. Let's go off the engagement between our two families. From now on, my son won't buff you anymore. I also hope your daughter won't find someone to beat him again. Otherwise, next time we won't let he go. So icily before leaving, I looked back. The two families were in a complete mess. With such a terrible meeting, it was even more impossible for Vivon's family to accept Henry. After that day, my parents started thinking about moving. Originally, after Orphamly made a profit from the business, we bought a villa in the suburbs. But for the sake of being in a lively and being close to Vivon's family, Wayhodent moved. Now, there was no Rio Santo stay anymore. Before leaving, Vivian's father came to our house in person to apologize solemnly. It's Almy daughter's fault for not being up toper and being blind, but we'll still be friends in the future. Our relationship so many years shouldn't fall apart just because of her. My father sighed. He smiled and said it was okay, but Will knew that everything could never go back to the way it was before. Since we moved, it was very rare for me to Runento Vivon. When we met at school, ignored her as if she were a stranger, and Vivian seemed to want to prove her. The more her parents forbade her from doing something, the more she wanted to do it. She started dating Henry openly. She also gradually began to skip classes. Without my tutoring, her grades naturally plummeted. However, once on the roadside, I saw Vivon shedded her smooth black hair, yellow and got big waves permed. Although she was only 18 years old, she looked as mature as a 7-year-old. She sat on the back seat of Henry's motorcycle wearing black skull earrings with exaggerated purpley shadow and a lady's cigarette in her mouth. There was a very bright smile on her face. It seemed that she was really happy. When our eyes met, I saw her face turn cold, and she gave me the middle finger. She called me a fool. I turned my eyes back without any reaction. Nowadays, I have devoted myself entirely to my studies. Without Vivian appearing in front of me, my academic performance has been improving day by day. I soon became the first in my grade. In that third mock exam, my score was high enough to ensure that I could be admitted to Stanford University. Seeing that, I wasn't affected by Vivon and instead studied hard. My parents were very pleased. Before dinner one night, my father seemed hesitant to speak. Finally, he said, "Your uncle Vivon's his father has been so angry with Harrisonly that he's fallen ill and is in the hospital. Alas, the college entrance examination is coming up soon, and she's not at home all day long. We don't even know where she is. He has come to me more than once, hoping that I can eschew to persuade that child." I shook my head. Dad, everyone has their own destiny. If we interfere with Sumian's destiny, we have to bear the corresponding consequences. Since it's your own choice, what right do we have to interfere? My father sighed and didn't say anything more. Before the collegiate entrance examination, Henry cornered me in the restroom. "What do you want?" I declared to me in a victorious manner. "Vivian is still mine. Even if you have a Giselle in academic performance and a superior family background, she just me." I didn't understand what he was showing off to me. "So what? Don't you think I really care about her?" Henry was a bit stunned. "She's just a piece of trash. You two are a perfect match." When Henry heard this, his face turned pallid with anger, and his fists clenched adamantly. I continued, "Wasn't the lesson at the police station last time enough? If you dare to lay a hand on me this time, I won't let you off." After hesitating for a moment, Henry put down his fists. I thought he was just a bully. Was fierce in appearance but cowardly in heart. Before I walked out, he declared victory again. After tomorrow, Vivian will completely belong to me. I didn't look back. Who she belongs to has nothing to do with me. However, I couldn't not tell Vivian's parents such good news. If she wants to allop, let her allop. When Vivian's father learned that she had given up the college entrance examination and was going to elope, he was so angry that he had a stroke and cerebral hemorrhage on the spot and was rushed to the emergency room for rescue. Unfortunately, he still pissed away and couldn't be saved. It was said that before he died, he kept chanting my name. He hoped that I could take good care of Vivian. When my father relayed this to me, he said with emotion, "Fortunately, the Ngaga, our two families has been broken off, otherwise, it would have been a disaster if you were involved with her." I nodded. In my previous life, I was trapped by Vivian's father's last words. For my whole life, for the sake of responsibility and obligation, I married her and treated her so well. But what was the result? She not only killed me, but also my parents. Finally, I attended Viv's father's funeral and saw her haggarded face there. Obviously, Viv had been crying for a long time. After all, since she caused her father's death and didn't get a chance to see him forth last time, she couldn't not feel guilty. The most shocking thing was that when I was about to leave, I accidentally heard the conversation. Vivian and her mother. "Mom, I'm pregnant. I'm carrying Henry's child." A clear slapping sound fell into my ears. "Do you know what your father said before died? He asked you to break up with Henry and be with Julian. Julian is a Mion we've watched grow up. He's a good person and has a promising future. What's so good about Henry? So, what if you're pregnant? What kind of life can he give you and the child? You haven't even graduated from high school. What kind of job can you do? Have you thought about all these things? The Julian family is so wealthy. If you're with him, you'll definitely live a comfortable life. You don't want to live such a good life, but instead, choose Togo and suffer." These words seemed to have convinced Vivian. She hesitated for a. "What about the child?" Vivian's mother pondered. "Abort it. Break up with Henry completely. Only we know about this. Given Julian's feelings for you, as long as you show a little weakness, he will definitely be willing to come back and marry you. Then, when you become as Julian, everything in the Julian family will be yours." In the end, Vivian agreed. After all, she wasn't completely blind by love. Compared with love, she might value her quality of life more. Just thinking about the characters of their mother and daughter made me feel so disgusted that I wanted to vomit. On second thought, perhaps in my previous life she had already been pregnant with Henry's child, secretly had an abortion, and then came back to be with me. I left in a hurry with unsteady steps. I gradually had my own plan in mind. Sure enough that night, I received a message from Vivian Julian. I was bewitched by Henry before. Now I finally realize it thought the person I like in my heart is still you. Can you forgive me? Let's start over. Okay. I suppressed my nausea. I replied to her. But Henry really likes you, too. A gentleman does take what belongs to others. You'd better live a good life with him. She replied immediately. Don't mention him. I just regard Henry as a backup, like a fish in my pond. Once I'm tired of him, I'll come back. In my heart, you're always the most important. What is Henry? Julian, you will always be my first choice. I sneered and replied. Lem think about it. Perhaps seeing that my tone had softened, Vivian started to press her advantage. I also hired Samion to follow her. When she was about to go to the hospital for an abortion, would tell Henry everything. I didn't believe he could tolerate it. What Henry couldn't stand the most was being deceived. He really loved Vivian, so he couldn't accept betrayal even more. I had learned about his past. The reason why his father was in prison. Waste that, he found out his wife was having an. He couldn't stand it, so he took a knife and killed his wife's lover. Originally he planned to kill his wife, the lover, and then commit suicide. But unexpectedly, when Henry came home halfway through, he saw everything. He stood in front of his mother, which saved her life. Henry's father was sentenced to a suspended death sentence. It was because of his mother's betrayal that a happy family was broken up. So, from then on, Henry changed from a top student to a loafing hooligan. I wondered whether he, having known of everything, could calmly accept Vivian's betrayal, or would he also choose to follow in his father's footsteps. I was waiting to see after dating Vivian. A few times Vivian couldn't wait to ask me about getting married. You know, my father's last wish before he died, waste that, we could get married. I hugged her and comforted her with a smile. Don't worry, once I graduate from university, we'll get the marriage certificate. All this years, there has only been you, in me heart. My words were a mix of truth and falsehood. All these years there really had only been her in my heart, but that was in the past. Now, I only feel disgust for her. Every single second I spend by her side makes me feel extremely sick. After hearing my premise, she finally let out a sigh of relief.